Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here today. A bit late in the day, especially if you're in Europe. Um, Welcome to the Q3 retro, where we are gonna talk about what we've done in the past couple months and what we have ahead on Request Network. I think there's a couple of very exciting stuff that we've been built, and I'm also gonna try to demo it to you guys. So let's see. Normally, just as like the other quarterly presentations, we'll be having a part where I'm gonna present the updates, and then there will be the Q&A, which the team answered, and Alex is gonna present to you based on the questions that you asked. To start, we are going to start with the mission, as we always do, to enable the growth of a financial ecosystem built on open source, decentralized blockchain infrastructure. At Request Network, we believe that the future of finance will be on chain, and it's our mission to build the tools to allow that movement. Moving on to the vision, I've shared this previously, but for anyone new here, this is how we envision the future of finance on chain and on request networks path. On the right, we have applications that write data like payment applications, invoicing applications into the request protocol, and then can be easily seen by the applications on the right side that consume data, applications like accounting apps, credit scores, any kind of like personal finance management, tax reports, and the on the right end of it, we have more like the financial apps that can use the credit and financial data from request protocol for different financial products. So to start with the Q3 achievements, last quarter and in the beginning of this one, there are some stuff that I'm going to present here that was done still like even last month. We've launched and we've made a lot of upgrades to three products in specific: the Request Invoicing, which is like our white label invoicing app; Request Checkout, which is a payment app that you can easily integrate into your website to start receiving crypto; and lastly, Request Scan, which some of you might have already tested out, but it's basically a place where it's like a browser explorer for Request Network. You can go there, you can see all the requests you created in your wallet. You can download the invoices or receipts and share it with everyone. Lastly, we deployed single request forwarder. I'm also going to explain that a little bit more ahead, but let me start with a small demo on the updates of the three templates. All right. You can see my screen on the request checkout, right, Alex?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Request checkout is a very easy way to integrate a payment button, a pay with crypto button into your website. You just have to fill, let me just refresh this for you and go from the start. So basically, if you go to checkout.request.network, you'll end up here. We have a demo, which kind of is a mock-up website where we integrated the template so you can see how it works. And then we have the playground. On the playground, you can test it out with your actual, you can kind of customize it to fit however needs you might have on your project. You can come here, you can select what currencies to accept. Let's say we do want US DAI on Optimism and the Polia ETH. USDT on Optimism and the Polia ETH. You input the amount that's gonna cost whatever item you want. This can all be passed in through your front end. It doesn't need to be manually inputted, but since in here it's like a playground, we kind of have to. Let's say that request network is doing a conference and it's gonna sell tickets. Okay, then you have this pre-filled component. You have the code here. You can just copy it and get it into your project. I'm gonna simulate here a purchase. Let's use the Polia for the sake of the demo. You add an email, you add your name, can add whatever other details you want. And basically it gives you the conversion in ETH because I chose to pay in ETH Sepolia. And it's done. It takes a couple seconds, like the same time as the actual transaction to execute. Okay, and it's done. You can then download the receipt or view it in request scan. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to show that later. Same here for the demo app. It's exactly the same. You just pick up one of these experiences, the Future Tech Summit. You choose the tickets you want. You go to checkout and you have here the payment pre-filled already with like all those details are already filled. You just need to choose the currency and make the payment. All right, and that closes the checkout. Then we have the invoicing, the request invoicing one. As you can see, we already have the payment here that I made on the checkout. Because the cool thing about these web components is that they are all connected, right? They are all built on top of request network, so they are all feeding and consulting the same data about the wallet. So every time that I make a payment in a checkout in any kind of website for e-commerce, I'm gonna be able to see the status of that payment on the invoicing tool, and then I'm gonna be able to see it on RegScan later. Here to create an invoice, it's also very simple. This is like everything is built on web components. This list is a web component. And then this create invoice form is also a web component that you can leverage to build on top, even if you're participating on the hackathon. You can choose to which address you want to receive the funds for your invoice. If you don't, by default, it will assume it's the same as that's creating the request. I'm gonna copy. The address here, you can input whatever info you want. Everything is optional, so nothing is mandatory. You can add here, let's say that request network. I'm sending this invoice to request network and choose whatever things I want. Then on the payment chain, again, I'm going to use Sepolia for the demo, but you have a bunch of chains that you can use. You can label in whatever currency you want, euro, dollar. I'm going to do USD, and I'm going to pay in it Sepolia. Let's say it's for a website or design work of design website. And it's with $1. You can add whatever description you want. And for website design, you can add labels. And then you have here like a preview of how the invoice will look like. You add a due date and you create the invoice. It starts persisting data on IPFS, then that data is stored, the hash of that data is stored on chain, and the invoice is created. You go back to the dashboard, you can already see it there. It's marked as in, right? But if I change to my other address, it will be seen as out the same invoice. Then you can just go and pay it with one click. Then you can go here to RegScan. I'm gonna use the other wallet because that's the one that created everything on the checkout. But then you can come here, you can search your wallet, and you'll have the requests that you've done here. Like these three were the ones that I did on the demo. You can just, no, probably these two. And you can come here, see the details, and share it with your accountant, whoever it's necessary, the government. Um, so that closes here the updates on what we've built so far. We've built these three tools on top of Request Network. They are not connected to one another in any kind or any API or anything. That's not the protocol. And it kind of showcases the interoperability that we are trying to achieve at Request Network with the different apps that we are trying to onboard. We want people to be able to pay on websites, see everything on an invoicing or accounting application like Request Finance and other applications that are yet to come. All right, let's move on with the presentation. If anyone has more questions about the demos later on, just feel free to ask. Also, in the beginning of this quarter and the last quarter, we've been working hard on the single request forwarder. I mentioned here previously, the single request forwarder is something that's super interesting and that has a lot of use case for the network. First, it allows you to pay a request or pay an invoice through a centralized exchange or from a simple transaction, because normally you'd have to call a function on a smart contract. And for example, if you're doing a payment from a centralized exchange, that's not possible. So now it's applications building with request are now compatible with those types of payments while still keeping a good reconciliation. And even if you want to have, for us, it's very important to be able to onboard like payment projects. And whenever we needed to onboard the payment project, you would have to change a little bit their smart contract to be compatible with the network. Single request forwarder makes it in a way that change is not necessary, which avoids audits and makes the flow much simpler. We are trying it out with some possible partners. Let's see how that goes. Next quarter, I'll give more news on this. Other testing approaches that we've done in the last 3 months was the request factoring. Not sure if you saw it, but we launched this campaign for people to come to Request Network. We partnered with a bunch of factoring companies, and the results were not great. The crypto world, we believe, it's still not ready for factoring. Factoring is more used on intensive industries. The crypto world is still in a place where a lot of companies tend to have a lot of money, so they don't have a lot of liquidity problems. But in the future, it's something that's incredible and extremely used in the real world, in the Web2 world. So we are going to do more efforts in the future as soon as the market starts getting more mature. We also started testing with AI agents and payments with AI agents on on request network. There are a lot of use cases for AI agents to keep a track record on the blockchain for transparency, for security, and for immutability. Um, we will be launching more on this soon. All right. And what now let's start to talk a little bit of what's coming up in the next quarter, in the next few months. We are working on request REST API. Basically, one of our main goals is to make request network super accessible, and creating a REST API will get us there. Like the simplest way to create a request possible from any kind of language without having to interact with the TypeScript SDK. Um, on the second hand, we have encryption. Encryption on request network was kind of complicated to have on the browser level. You had to handle your keys manually, which is not good. It's not good practice. So we are partnering up with an encryption protocol that will allow us to have encryption much easier on the hands of the end user instead of kind of keeping it controlled by the company in the middle. And lastly, we have a lot of template improvements. We are working on adding that encryption into all the templates that you've seen there. So whenever you're creating a payment or an invoice, you'll be having the choice to make it private. Currently, everything there is public. And on RecScan, you'll be able to see that encrypted requests exist, and if you connect your wallet, you'll be able to decrypt the requests that are encrypted that belong to that wallet, which belong to you. on on the last point, private payments. There was also a question about this. We are working with Hinkle to allow private payments. As you know, we work with a lot of companies, and companies don't want to have their payments completely open. So what this will do is that it will use Hinkle to kind of be able to give some privacy to some of the payments happening on request network. All right. Some other updates on acquisition. One of our main focus is to grow. Our biggest focus right now is to grow the protocol, bring more developers, creating small projects or established businesses to leverage the network and to leverage the infrastructure that we built. And we've made a lot of efforts on that. On the last year, we've been running at least one hackathon a quarter to kind of showcase the tools that we have to the developers, to bring projects in here, and for these people to be aware of what we are building and eventually use it in the next project that they go to. And we also have been focusing a lot on attending conferences, talking with businesses, outreach into bigger businesses than like pre-seed or seed projects. Of course, the B2B sales, it's something that takes a long time, but we might have some good news soon. Lastly, the tokenomics. Here I know that people are very concerned about the tokenomics at request network, and I think that we already mentioned that we agree that we should create more utility for the token, for the REC token, and we are working on it. We started talking with some experts on the subject. We have some clear ideas of what we want to do. with the token. Unfortunately, the first use case that we wanted, we talked previously about having the tokenomics incentivizing the network effects of the platform. So people were creating requests, and the people consuming the same request will be paying the data creators. That was not possible yet because we don't have enough adoption to make it work. And a lot of the ideas that we received, both from community and from the team, there were good ideas. Some of them we are not on a stage where they are possible to be executed, but we are going to focus on a couple of initiatives for the tokenomics that will be mostly to incentivize small businesses to come to Request Network and to incentivize end users directly, on top of to understand exactly what they are doing with Request Network and kind of get more advantages to choose the projects that are building with us. All right.
We're
Thanks, everyone.
we've got to do the fun part here. Let's do it like this so people can also see our faces. Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Francisco. Just I would like to add one more thing. We've been to some events as well. Maybe we should include the events that we've gone to and how many contacts we made in the next community call. Because we've been to EdCon, we've been to Varsho, we've been to ECC in Q3. We've made hundreds of contacts, and we've gotten, I would say, really involved with hackathon platforms and other kinds of bug bounty platforms and platforms that generally need to do payouts. So we're hopeful that in the next couple of months, everybody will see the results of our traveling around, talking to people, convincing them that this is Request Network is the choice. And yeah, we should maybe add events to the next community call. Anyway, now on to the next.
I think that
Mm,
hopefully in the next community call we'll be talking about the new projects already
yes,
than the leads.
and just another one more thing. Uh, I'm sure that the community has noticed that we haven't had so many grantees lately in the past months. That's for a good reason. We are not allowing like basically just anybody else, first of all, and second of all, we are focused on acquiring builders without bribing them with some sort of money. Our bribe, our incentive to builders is the great open source free infrastructure. And that's what we want to sell from now on. Obviously, we do still have the grants program, but we want to acquire as many builders and businesses without paying them some sort of money. And this is what we're getting at soon, DM. Now, the fun part, questions. Question number one. What are the planned features and their corresponding timelines for RexScan, up-to-date stats, filtering, and crypto requests, etc.? All those and some other features focused on accounting and compliance are part of the developments happening already in RexScan, and they are planned to be released by the end of this quarter. So really, 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 really soon you'll see some more updates to the RexScan, and as you can see, all the templates are constantly getting improved based on user feedback. Second question, Request Network is currently sitting at below our $100 million market cap. It has a lot of room to grow during this market bull cycle. What would a 10x in market capitalization mean for your company? Um, is it a bull run? Are we all in agreement that this is a bull run? So such an increase in market capitalization would imply a huge new level of awareness. You can all imagine like all the pumps that you've seen where all kinds of coins 10x in 1 day or 2 days. There are a lot of new eyes, a lot of awareness. We have to capitalize on that awareness to attract new builders, new businesses to use us. So another effect that would be felt throughout the community, just like the saying, "Happy wife, happy life." A happy community would be more incentivized to spread the word about Request Network and our reliable open source infrastructure. So all in all, we think that having such a massive pump would be obviously great for your bags. Congratulations, but we're looking more towards the awareness that it can get us and how the community can also help us to, you know, bank on that awareness, profit from it, get more builders, more businesses, get the word out. Look, why use that middleman when you can use us? Cool. New feature that you're most excited for. I think the whole team is in agreement that the single request forwarder is the feature that we're most excited about. As Francisco said, the SRF, as we abbreviate it, opens a lot of doors for builders, and it tackles two main problems that we had on the request network. The first problem that it solves is the ability to pay a request from a simple transaction instead of needing to call a smart contract function, which enables, among a million other use cases, payments from centralized exchanges. Multiple builders have already requested such a thing from us. We're building it, and hopefully they will use it as soon as it's out. The second main problem that it solves is that it enables new payment networks to move on top of request network very easily, without much effort or without, most importantly, without the need to change smart contracts. So potential builder, a potential business doesn't have to hire new development resources. They don't have to do new audits. They don't have to spend money on this. It will be easy, simple, and as a templates, I hope it will be done in 2-3 minutes. Let's see what the next questions are. Question number 4. Has there been any recent interest in building mobile apps that integrate with Request Network? Um, Nothing of particular interest that we can discuss about, but we have done some work towards making the integration easier for developers and founders alike who want to tackle the mobile markets by testing an integration with Expo, which will allow developers to use Request Network with React Native for app development. You can find more information about this on our documentation, docs.request.network. This I remember in the last community call that we did have this question about mobile apps. Curious, whoever asked about it, are you planning to build something that uses request in a mobile environment? If yes, just reach out on general or support or DM one of the team members and we can discuss whatever needs you have. Maybe you have some particular needs that we can discuss and obviously build on. Question number 5. How can supporters and everyday investors of Request Network get involved with your company in order to advance our mutual interests? So we do have different interests, but in the end, they all contribute to Request Network's success. So the success of Request Network lies in the potential of the ecosystem around it. If there's a critical mass of builders or businesses who integrate with us and use our infrastructure, there will be a lot more room to play around with the token and potential use cases. So of course the burn would exponentially increase, but that's not the main focus. We need utility, right? Utility is the main focus. So to help us help you, spread the word to anybody who is building a business and is crypto curious. Spread the word to your freelancer friends about us. Tell them that they can get a mix of fiat and crypto with us. Tell them they can build their own invoicing solution if they invoice a lot. Tell your friends that are looking for a job or a gig. Tell them about Joba. Joba Network, where they're doing an amazing job, or ecosystem players are doing an amazing job with their projects. So whenever you hear about someone that is crypto curious and we just want to build something, we do have the tools to get them in Web3 easily and for free. Yeah? You don't have to spend 1 week in some Solidity camp. They can just go to our documentation and they'll be pleasantly surprised, I hope. So you help us, we'll help you. For question number 6, what will Hinkle private payments be used for? I see them on the horizon on GitHub. I'm happy that people are actively looking at our GitHub and trying to figure out what we're building. Nice. As Francisco said, they will be used for private payments. The companies that use Request Network, they want more privacy on the payment side, and this is what we're building, this is what we're giving them. Ask and you shall receive. Valid for everybody else. And we're up to question number 7, which is about tokenomics. As we made it sound like it was happening this year for sure. What happened? So I'm not sure what was understood by happening this year. We did promise that we will open a discussion. It has been open. We did discuss with other people. We gathered all the ideas, including from the Discord. I've asked you, I've asked the community multiple times to like pitch in. What do you think would work? And during the Marrakesh offsite, we did have a conversation about it, a lengthy conversation about it. So I will tie into question number 8. Have you contacted any official advisors or consultants that specialize in tokenomics? So we did do that as well. If Francisco will allow it, I will post a video from EdCon in Tokyo where I was at a side event and I recorded myself with a guy talking about a potential use case based on reputation with direct token. We'll discuss this afterwards, Francisco. It's a nice video to share. And we did have
Yeah, okay.
talks.
Um,
Go ahead. You want to
yeah,
say
we
something?
have yeah, I just want to add there that we are not disclosing anything right now, but we have been making efforts and we have like already a defined path for that. Some of the changes might imply some technical work, so that's going to be a bit harder. But let's see in the near future.
Yeah.
We'll give more news on it.
Yep. And yeah, it wasn't just a guy. Just to be clear about it, the guy is a tokenomics expert, and he's got PhDs and stuff. He's into decentralized science. So it was a very nice conversation. We've had multiple conversations like this. We've compiled all of the ideas from both the community and ourselves during our Morocco offsite. We have, I would say, we have a winner, which was already presented to the board. That's all we can say right now, okay? We will have more information in the coming months, but we are working on it. It was not just an empty promise. Moving on, because otherwise I might spill the beans here. Question number 9, how can we get more attention, partnerships, and interest in Request Network as a solid investment? As I mentioned a couple of questions ago, spreading the word about our reliable, free, open source infrastructure is the best thing you can do. Um, Grow the builders, grow the ecosystem, grow the businesses, everything will grow together. Our infrastructure, if you're curious about what you want to sell to people, it's our infrastructure, okay? It's our strongest selling point. And to add to the previous answer, if you want to do even more, if you want to go the extra mile, I know some of you have, in the past, shield coins went on 4chan, you've been on Biz, you've been on Crypto Moonshot, so on and so forth. So if you can write, if you're a writer, do a couple of threads on there, post on a subreddit. If you're if you got amazing graphic design skills, use the information on our website, create an infographic. If you are part of the developer communities, let them know about our templates, free to use, easy to install, might change somebody's business, and life possibly. So in the end, we will support anyone and everyone who supports us. So anybody who's doing any kind of task like this will find a way to make sure that you are heard and seen. And I think that's about it with the questions. We didn't get that many this time.
Yep, I think that's all.
Yep. Thank you
All right.
everybody.
Thanks,
Very
everyone.